Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and yes, we're with Iconic Auctioneers at the NEC. It's the classic motor show here this weekend, and there are 3 sales here. That is why I've got such a fat catalogue. There are 600 lots being sold in all in this sale. There is the classic sale happening here. Johnny Smith is just standing there. He's going to be doing a tour around that later. I'm doing the iconic cars, 148 cars in here. And there is a bike sale over there, which I think they've got 260 bikes in that sale. And there is no end of stuff on offer here. What I can't get over, having looked through this, there's a very tempting cars in this sale at a reasonable price point. Around the sort of 30 to 70,000 pounds, there is no end of choice in this sale. Now, I often get criticised because I say, oh, you're always featuring the Porsche. I looked at the numbers. Of the 148 cars here, the most car, one make, is Ford, an RS1800S, just sitting here. Very nice to see. Saw one at Iconic. That one is guided at 280 to 340,000 pounds. There is even more expensive Fords here, with some rally cars here, world rally cars over there. And the next most popular car here is Porsche, with 20 examples of those. But there is no end of stuff to look here. There's Lancia, there is one Lamborghini, which is mine. So we'll probably see that later on as well. But let's kick off with a Jaguar. Here's an E-Type Jaguar. Now, Series 1, very pretty in this colour. And this one is offered directly from Rowan Atkinson. And if you watch Netflix, there was a series called A Man vs. Bee. I have to say, I haven't watched it, but 28 million people have watched it. And this car featured in that series. And Rowan Atkinson has then fully restored it beyond the film, because apparently they destroyed the dash in it and the rear window in the film. That is all being repaired. It is beautifully presented, but it has this very strange square of bodywork here with rubber around it. Apparently, Rowan asked for that to be left there because he made a hole in the bodywork there. That is why it has that strange thing here. It gives it its authenticity that this really is the car from that series. It was converted to right-hand drive in 1989, so US supplied, but a very early car, outside body locks on it. And this car is offered with no reserve. So it'll be very interesting to see what that sells for. Now, something completely different here. This car, Ford Escort RS Cosworth Luxe Edition, 97. It is almost as new. It is 408 miles from new, and it's had one owner from new. How do these cars survive in like perfect showroom condition? Why can't they get out and drive them? I couldn't cope. I'll just have to take this out. But here it is. I don't think one has been sold in this condition. If you are after a Ford Escort RS Cosworth, as it was when it was brand new in 97, this is about as good as you're going to get, and the guide price, reflects that, 130 to 150,000 pounds. And then another car that's done very little. I should just say, I'm here on the Thursday setup day. Cars are arriving, and there's a lot of people inspecting the cars here. So you'll see people with torches and things crawling underneath cars, and this one is causing quite a lot of interest, because this is a 1990 Porsche, the 964, and this is the base of a lot of resto mods these days. So everybody's looking for perfect ones of this. And 1990 and 22,000 miles from new. It is a Carrera 4, and it's still manual, white sunroof, utterly perfect car. And because so many have gone to resto mods and things, the sort of standard cars are getting increasingly rare. And this is reflected in the guide of this, 100 to 120,000 pounds. Right, see what else we've got down here. Serious temptation with these 2 cars here. The Renault Turbo 2 and a short wheelbase Quattro, and it's a replica one, it's not a genuine one. Both of them are in the sale before my cars are being sold, which I'm very glad of, because one of these cars I would love in my garage. But this Turbo 2, so there was a Turbo 1 that had the mad interior, and then there was a Turbo 2 which was slightly calmed down but still pumped up, mad, nutty, turbocharged 1400cc engine, I think, in the back, with the big wide arches. And we all know, we've seen this on the rally stage and at Goodwood doing crazy things on the hill climb. 16,000 miles from new, 1984 this Turbo 2, Beautifully conditioned. I heard it start up thing. It's absolutely on the button and guided at 78 to 88,000 pounds. Or look at this short wheelbase Quattro. Now, I drove the Audi's car and I was gobsmacked by it. It was so unlike your standard Quattro. It was a wild thing, huge turbo lag, but when it came on boost, my God, it flew. And it was slightly shonky build quality, as new from the factory. The panel fit and thing didn't match, it didn't really match, but it's carbon fibre and they got so much weight out of it and it was so tunable and lighter. And I just love them. I just love the look of this car. But this is a replica, absolutely as close to the works cars you could get, but at a very different price point. So it's 1985, the car row seats in it. I'm told it drives beautifully, and 100 to 120,000 pounds for this, which a regular one would be well north of £500,000. So a huge saving if you've always wanted a short wheelbase Quattro like I have. JK has one, which is really annoying, and he loves his and he won't sell it to me. What else can we look at? Another one with bubble arches after the Quattro and the Turbo 2 is this Ford Escort twin cam. So 1970 Mark 1. The bubble arches you added after, but it was the thing you did because they make your car look like the rally cars. They didn't leave the showroom like this. But basically this has got the drivetrain of my Elan Sprint. So the Lotus twin cam up front and then the 4-speed rocket gearbox, the fastest gear change you can have. And of course they're very collectible these days. This is utterly perfect. 50 to 60,000 pounds for the Mark 1 Escort bubble arched edition. Now, two cars here. I can't help but show you these two because this one really caught my eye. This 1975 Alfa Romeo 2000 GT Veloce. And a lot of work has gone into this. It has visited Alfaholics and it's got Alfaholics suspension on it and their wheels. Drew Pritchard did this car in Salvage Hunters, so I haven't watched it, but it looks the part. And there's quite often these Alphas in these sales, but this is the best I've seen, I think. And what got me is they've also played with the engine in this, and they've got a dyno readout of 169 horsepower from the 2-litre engine in this. That is really going some for a normally aspirated on carbs twin cam engine road going. And this car is guided at 45 to 55,000 pounds and looks absolutely great, as I think this Lancia Fulvia looks. Now, this is when I go a bit nerdy, because obviously you know I've got the Fulvia Zagato, the Fulvia Sport. This is the Fanalone edition. So this was a limited run Lancia done, and this is the Rally Special. And it's called the Fanalone, means the bigger headlight. You see the stepped headlights. If you see them, those being big, that is the special one. That has aluminium panels on it, bonnet, doors, and perspex windows and things. This has the hot engine in it. I think they've just had a recent dyno, 143 horsepower from the 1600 engine, which is going some again. All rally spec. I haven't looked if it's actually got papers. Does it say Fabulous Ferrari? It does rally in historic events, so it's a road-going rally car. Just a little detail I want to show you. Have a look at this rear wheel arch, and you see this to the back wheel here, and that is for the trip meter. So it is absolutely accurate on the trip, because obviously it's front wheel drive, this car, so whatever that wheel does is the distance you've covered. Now, a lot of people I think dismiss the Lancia Fulvia in this spec, thinking, oh, it'd be much better than a rear drive Alfa. Not so. This is like a demented Mini. It's a glorious car, lightweight. It's 875 kilos for one of these Fanalone with the alloy panels, and they are an absolute hoot to drive. And this car, ready to go, is 60 to 80,000 pounds. Yes, they have a following, and being left-hand drive, there's a big market for these in Europe as well as the UK. I can't cover everything here, but there are a number of E-types. We've seen Rowan and Atkinson one. This is another. This is a series 1.5. So not quite a Series 1 and not quite a Series 2 with open lights, but 3.8. And they're getting really good value. That is guided at 40 to 50,000 pounds. That's around half what they were. And there's a flat 4 Roadster there. I think that's 100 to 110,000. Significantly less than they were a few years ago. But this is a car I wanted to show you, because I often get asked about Mille Miglia. I've done Mille Miglia several times. I think it's 4 or 5 times. And what car people, it's on a lot of people's bucket list. And I've never seen a better car. If you want to do Mille Miglia in 26, this is a good choice. I don't think you'll get better value. This is 1957 Triumph TR3 with all the papers and a ready-made entry to Mille Miglia. They paid the deposits for the entry in October a few weeks ago. So if you bought this car, you could do Mille Miglia in 2026. The entry is there and it's beautifully prepared, this one. It is a concours winning car. I've seen several of these on the Mille Miglia, and they're really good because you've obviously got a roof and you've got an open car and you just breathe in the atmosphere of the craziness in Italy during the event. And this car is guided at 22 to 28,000 pounds. That is the cheapest way to do Mille Miglia in 26 I can think of. I cannot recommend it high enough. It'll always be worth that sort of money. It's a British roadster, beautiful condition, long-term ownership, lots of concours wins as well. So yeah, I think that's an absolute steal at that money. Now I can't get over this GR Yaris you see here. You think, hang on a minute, why has it got sort of plastic on the bonnet? And then you read the description. This is a 22 GR Yaris circuit pack, 4-wheel drive, 8 miles from new. And it's not even been prepped by the dealer. You can see the covers on the wheel. So this is when it was transported to the UK. It had all this protection film on it, and it's still on it. And it's just bonkers, really. But if you want a brand new GR Yaris from 22 and you're not sure you like the 25 version we've got with all its nanning safety things you have to turn off and the strange dash, well, here's a brand new GR Yaris, and I think it's 35 to 40,000 pounds. They were about 34, 35 new. So yeah, completely different, but brand new GR Yaris. So, a nice little corner over here. I ought to just give this VW bus a mention because this is a charity lot and it's 1961 double door deluxe. So this is basically a bus. It's not a camper van, it's for transporting people around. And it's had £100,000 restoration to get it looking like this. And it's going to be sold with no reserve and all proceeds to benefit Great Ormond Street Hospital and Charity. A very generous gift from someone in this auction. But want to show you this car, Brabus. Now, this is the V12 Brabus SL, and the engines on these, I think from standard, were about 5.5 litre, the V12. They opened it up to 6, I wonder if it says here, 6.3 litre. They did about 20 of these cars, and with their little Brabus sort of tweaks, it is now 640 horsepower, this SL 600. What do they call it? It's an SV12 bi-turbo roadster is the official name of this car. I can imagine this is wild. Brabus in Germany have a top reputation. I can remember talking to one of the directors. I was doing a test on something and he mentioned off the record, I think it's long ago, I can now mention it, that I think 10 of the 12 board directors at Mercedes drove Brabus as their own car. But anyway, many moons ago. But this car, 30,000 miles from new, right-hand drive. I think there was 3 of the 20 were right-hand drive, guided at 60 to 70,000 pounds. A wild, wild car. Now, right, I've ended up in the corner where my cars are. You might recognise this is Spyder from Harry's Garage. It's my car, and I'm selling the 3 cars here: the Jaguar Coupe and the Series 1 Land Rover over there. I've just got too many cars, but I love this car. The Spyder is got such presence. When you see this car in the metal, this colour I think really suits it. It's got the Murus wheels on it, the black spinners, and the roof I just think really makes this one. There's one of 2, and there's a blue one that's got one of these roofs, and you look into the interior and you just think, wow, they don't make cars like this anymore. I've guided it at 90 to 110,000 pounds, but it's had about 60,000 on the engine, and it's all fully rebuilt suspension, drives beautifully, and I just want to see someone else enjoy this car as much as I have. Series 1 I call this the motorised wheelbarrow. It is basically in farm spec as it appeared. Yeah, I didn't even wash it. You can see I haven't actually cleaned the wheel, so it's cleaned out. We gave it a bit of a hoover, and it's been utterly perfect on the farm. I love how basic. This car is over 70 years old. I can get in there, turn the ignition on, press a button, starts instantly. Always has, all the years I've owned it, 11 years I've had it, and even after months, don't know, doesn't need a trickle charger, it just works. What have I guided at? 10 to 12,000 pounds. It's, as I say, it's been wonderful on the farm, motorised wheelbarrow. We've really enjoyed owning it. Now, had a lot of questions. Why am I selling the XJC? Just because I hugely enjoyed the journey of creating this car. It always frustrated me. Jaguar had the broad speed racing Jaguars, and they had this beautiful car, pillarless coupe, but it was a 3-speed automatic. They sort of detuned the V12 to the nth degree, just 200 and something horsepower from 5.3 litre. What happened if you put a 5-speed manual in it, got Tom Lempful to breathe on the engine? We didn't, it's all standard pistons and cranks. It's just got better exhaust and better intakes in it, and it did 350 horsepower. We've also got a suspension kit on it. You can see it's a lot stiffer than a normal Jaguar, but it's not stiff on the road at all. And it was just really to say, this is what Jaguar should have done in the day. And it's an amazing machine, has a huge following, and I just can't wait to see its next life and see if the owner enjoys it as much as I do. It's a cracking looking car, and I've guided it, I think, at 60 to 80,000 pounds, but I think there's quite a lot of interest in that car already. Now these, I've always liked this. This is Alfa Romeo Spyder, but the 2.6. And I think everybody thinks of the Duetto, the Graduate, that type of Alfa Spyder. I think these are really elegant. We forget Alfa did sort of 6-cylinder cars. This is a straight 6 twin cam engine in this, and it's extremely elegant for me. Can you imagine cruising, just having that transported down to Italy and spending a summer in Italy with this car? 1962, by touring, 87,000 miles from new. I think that's a bargain at 70 to 80,000 pounds. Utterly beautiful, and a classic that will keep its looks forever. I just think it always represent where Alfa was. God, some cars here. Where should we go next? Right, this is an interesting corner down here. There are 3 E-types, I just want to tell you, and the 240Z we're going to have a look at as well. Just want to feature this one first. So this is last of the line. This is a V12 1973 E-type manual, and 18,000 miles from new, guided at 55 to 65,000 pounds. That is a lot less than there used to be, especially a low mileage and good colours like that one. But this one, 1962 3.8 Series 1, 6,400 miles. I presume that might have been around, it doesn't say on there, 55 to 65,000 pounds. The Series 1 has the beautiful flared in lights, low numbers, number plates almost worth something as well. But this one, this is one of the very first ones, 147th production coupe, 3.8 litre. Looks fine on it. Tom and I have had a look around this one. It was restored some time ago, but it looks really very fresh, really nice interior, and it is 50 to 70,000 pounds. Extraordinary value E-types. They're still a beautiful looking car. Very interested to see what they actually sell for in the sale. 2 cars. Now, well, there's several cars here. I can't help. I like Corvette Stingrays. Convertible, very rare this one, because it was converted to right-hand drive. I've not seen a right-hand drive one before, but yeah, Rudd Speed used to do it. Fuel injection on this one, it's 63,000 miles, red, black. We looked at the engine, typical. I don't know, yeah, they're mad, these things, but fiberglass body on it, and 48 to 52,000 pounds. And I've always liked 240Zs, and this one is the 240Z to have me. Look at it, Super Ferrari. This was tuning in period, and these colours, these is so 70s. It's even got Wolf Race wheels on it. I think it's such a good looking car, this. And yeah, this is number 16 of 177 built in period by Super Ferrari. and this is guided at 42 to 46,000 pounds. I say there's no end of cars here in that sort of price bracket, and it's just hard to know which ones to feature. There are two beautiful Lotus Cortinas here, and one of them is from went to the US, and it was in storage 32 years, and that was in America. And this car was delivered new in America. I couldn't believe it. I was a dealer, I think it was near New York, New York State. And yeah, I can't imagine a Lotus Cortina in US, but that is what this car did in its original life. It came back to the UK, I think in 2012, at 52,000 miles, and then had this huge restoration. It was £37,000 in it. 550 hours have gone into this car, and it's guided at 40 to 50,000 pounds. And if you want a choice, see which one is best, there is another Lotus Cortina over there, guided at very similar money, absolutely beautiful condition, the pair of them. Yeah, really interesting to see two perfect Lotus Cortinas in the sale. What else do we have a look at? Clio V6. Who doesn't like a Clio V6? So this is a phase 1 version. Yeah, these have really gone up in value, haven't they? Silver, I'm not sure how many miles this one is. Yeah, 21,000 miles new. Again, 40 to 50,000 pounds. That seems to be where they sit. They have a real following, and I've driven them. They're lovely soundtrack. You think you're in a 911 almost, this sort of V6 sound from the rear. But the handling is interesting to say the least. It's heavy, but yeah, I can see the appeal of them. They're such a statement and always look great. It's one of those cars you always look back on every time you park up. Hard choice here, two Mercedes convertibles with their hard tops on. So first of all, 1966 Mercedes-Benz 230 SL Pagoda, but this is a manual gearbox one, and they're rare things, and I think it does change the car's character. 68,000 miles, 55 to 65,000 pounds. Looks super smart, lovely colour combination. But also this one. This is 1990, one of the last Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. There's a 300 and there's a 500 SL version, and I think the 300 might be the choice of the two. Straight 6 engine, very charismatic engine, plenty of performance, bit lighter. But what struck me about this, one, the mileage from new, 7,837 miles, and two, it's got an electric hood on it. It's been converted. The manual folding roof on this has been made electric, like the R129 SL that came after this. Now, I have owned one of these in 1971, early one, and the roof is a bit of a pain. It's very, you have this fiddly sort of levers here. You have to lever it down to put it onto the back, and then it's quite a lot of pressure to put the soft roof down as well. Electric roof conversion is a highly desirable option, and I never knew you could ever put it on this. It's retrofitted, it's not by Mercedes. Anyway, super low miles to say, 7,800 miles, guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds. So both the same value, hard to choose which one I'd have. Now, I'm a bit of a sucker for the Alfa SZ Zagato, the monster. When this came out in 1990-91 period, it was such a shock to see this car, but I think it stood the test of time. I really like the cleanness of it, and it's actually, I've driven one of these. If you look on Harry's Garage, I've got a review of one, and it didn't drive as I expected. It was quite taut. They're slightly heavier than you expect them to be, but they have a singing V6, and the suspension is all sort of rose joints and things. You have to take a lot of care on the suspension on these to make sure they continue to drive well. But split rim alloys, collector piece, I don't know, I'm surprised they're not worth more than they are. This one at 17,000 miles and supplied to the UK, one of 100. They produce about 1,000, just over 1,000 of them in total, and guided at 60 to 70,000 pounds. Can't really walk past. It's beautiful colours, this Lotus Esprit. So 1998, it's the V8 one, SE turbo. Really nice colour combination. I think that quite a lot of work has gone into this car to get it up to this standard, and yet here it is, 57,000 miles, guided at 40 to 50,000 pounds. Absolutely look the part. But yeah, I want to show you this Aston over here. So V12 Vantage. Now, I've just done a video on one of these. It'll be out in a couple of weeks' time. And it was really nice to revisit this car. It's about 2010 they came. And what got me about the Vantage V12, when I look back at the history of it, we had the Vantage, we had 4.3, 4.7, and very successful. But they had the DBS, was the ultimate Aston at the time, and James Bond and things. And someone at Aston must have said, what happens if we put the DBS drivetrain into the baby Vantage? And this was the result. So 6-litre V12, manual gearbox, and also carbon brakes on it as well. And you can recognise them, V12 Vantage, because of these vents on the front. An Aston engineer once said to me they were Marmite vents, they call them, because some people really didn't like them and other people loved them. But really nice example, this one. And this has had some Bamford Rose, who are specialists, tuning specialists for Astons, and they put trick exhaust on this, switchable valve in, and a different catalyst and things. And it's released, I think, 80 horsepower. So I think this is 590 horsepower, the spec of this one. 32,000 miles from new, guided at 60 to 70,000 pounds. I think that's amazing value for a V12 Vantage. Oh, now 612. Ferrari's controversial 612. We really weren't sure what to make of this car when we saw the design. It was all sort of smoothed off and didn't really have the aggression we expect from Ferrari, but they actually drove very nicely. And then we got the 599, which was really angry. This was not an angry car, but beautiful handling, transaxle and things. What makes this one rare? It's a manual gearbox one. And I did drive a manual one, and I was really surprised how nice it was. Only 7,700 miles from new, that manual gearbox actually makes it worth a lot more, but still only guided at 100 to 120,000 pounds. If you think of a manual 599, you're paying a huge amount of money, near $500,000. So yeah, really nice to see that here. Oh, we could go on. Where do we go next? Now this car caught my eye in the catalogue. Nissan 350Z, 2007. And at Evo, we had real fond memories of this. We went over to California to drive it first, and we just couldn't believe what Nissan had done. And it was a really nice manual V6, just an enjoyable, not crazy horsepower, 3.5 litre engine. And the reason I'm picking this one out in the sale is because this is just as it was. It's one owner from new, 3,700 miles from new, and guided at 15 to 20,000 pounds. Surely that will make more than that. But even today, it's 18 years old. I think it looks absolutely fresh. So I'd love to see how that goes in the sale. Yeah, what should we go to? Yeah, Range Rover, green Range Rover. And you'll never guess, but it's another one that Her Majesty, this was her car to be, was photographed in this car, driving it, and it's another Queen's Range Rover. So this one, if I look at it, yeah, this is a 3.6 TD-V8, just like mine and Jeremy's. And the owner bought this car and then noticed that the registration was very close, oh, it's not on here, was very close to Jeremy's, and that meant it was a supply car. And then thought, I'll just search who had this car, and he couldn't believe it. He found photographs of the Queen driving this car. So that's how it's come about. Yeah, it's 126,000 miles guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds for a Queen's Range Rover. I'm just going to, I don't often mention the Rolls-Royce and Bentleys in the sale, but this one, it's Rolls-Royce Silver Dawn, incredible car to travel in. I have the Silver Shadow and enjoy it immensely. It's just, people like going in it. The pub car, call it what it will, 30,000 miles from you, 24 to 28,000 pounds. What's interesting about those, they don't have the turbo on it, so the engines are unstressed and it's just easy motoring. But this Bentley, now this is a pretty special model. This is the Diamond Edition, what do they call it? Diamond Series. And they are, so turbocharged, this one, built to celebrate 60 years of Bentley production at Crewe, 2006. They're quite a thing, these. And 24,000 miles from new, guided at 40 to 50,000 pounds for such an event. If you look in the back, they're just beautiful to sit in. All electric seats in the back as well. Just imagine cruising around in that every now and then. You'll be, yeah, people will very, very much like to pass through in that car. What else should we look at? Oh, yeah, P38. I just mentioned this one because Harry Whale mentioned it to me. 8,000 miles from new, this one, 99. 25 to 30,000. Couple of Vanquish as well. I remember seeing photographs of this one because this was purchased new by Hugh Grant. And I just remember seeing that in the paper and him taking delivery of it. 39,000 miles, 40 to 45,000 pounds. Yeah, Vanquish just have not taken off in value. They seem to sit around that 50,000 pound mark. Very unusual. Where should we go now? There are a lot of Land Rovers in this sale. I think it was I-17 or something, like a restored Series 1. This is an 80, so it's a shorter wheelbase than mine. Utterly perfect, yeah, 20 to 25,000 pounds. But this looks a buy to me. We never know what cars should we put away and enjoy, but I think a Porsche Boxster Spyder edition is as timeless as you get. Yes, it has a fiddly roof in that it's manual and you have to put it away and things, but it is a limited run car, and we all know Boxsters drive really nicely. So it's one of 227 right-hand drive Boxsters, 39,000 miles from you, 45 to 50,000 pounds. I don't know, really enjoyable manual Boxster, trick roof, very special car. God, oh no, that Airstream Defender, I have to show you that. I couldn't believe it when I was just showing it earlier. This quality in this car, it's utterly mad, this thing. So it's built up on a new chassis, galvanized chassis, 130 chassis. And they decided how could they marry the sort of Airstream look? If you look at the side, could they mount that and make this sort of camper van out of Defender? And I think, Tom, I'm sorry about this, but you're going to have to follow me in here. Oh. In here, there's oak. This is all oak. It's just beautifully done. Cooker here, fridge there, sink. And that window, there's a switch somewhere and it just floats up and you have this beautiful view of the outside. This obviously converts to a bed. And they showed this thing at Goodwood a few years ago, and the price was around £250,000. In the end, it didn't quite come off. It wasn't quite the business opportunity they thought. They're now selling it, and it's guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds. But the beautifully put together, I'm sure it'll fetch more than that because it's so nicely done. As I say, there's 20 Porsches in this sale. But I wanted to feature this 930 you see here. Again, it's in the trendy colours of copper metallic, and it's got a Pasha interior. But this Porsche 930 interests me because the original owner got it in 1980, and then he knew about the LE, and he might know my Porsche. It has a modified engine and the deeper air dam with the oil cooler in it. And it spotted this in the catalogue. Hang on a minute. And he had this equipment done at the Porsche dealer, but this is Sonderwunsch kit on this car that was put on it in 1985. It also got the upgraded engine, bigger intercooler, and the quad exhaust on it. So really nice Porsche 930. And these seem to be on the up as well. I think it's about 95, it's not to say the mileage, around 100,000 miles I think, and 90 to 110,000 pounds for that one. But the most expensive Porsche in the sale, by a long shot, is a Porsche I didn't actually know Porsche made, and it's this one. So this is a 1995 Porsche 911 993 Turbo Cabriolet. I didn't know they did a cabriolet version of the 993 Turbo, but they did. They did 14 of them in period, and this is a right-hand drive one. I think there were 5, right-hand drives, 13,000 kilometres from new, in a very purple colour, and I just never knew they existed. Here it is. And some of these are sold for over £1 million. So they have guided this car at 700 to 800,000 pounds. Yeah, the appetite for very low production, rare Porsches is extraordinary. But there you are, 993 Turbo Cabriolet. Have to show you this one as well. This is at a jaunty angle. This is a Ford Escort Mark II RS1800. So it's got the BDA engine in. They did this for the homologation reasons. This is the rally weapon of choice, and very expensive, super rare. Did it say how many? Yeah, 109 of these cars were produced. and this one is the most perfect one in existence. That is why it's got a mirror underneath. It is stupidly clean. This is beyond what it left the showroom as, and it actually has been meticulously gone through. It is actually being built on a new shell. It was near perfect, and then it discovered a brand new RS1800 shell and decided to go the whole hog, and this is how it is. It's won numerous concours d'elegance and universally regarded as simply the best example in existence. And because of that, it is guided at 200 to 250,000 pounds. There is also one other RS1800 in this sale just up there, which is sort of all original, and it'd be very interesting to see two of the very best RS1800s in existence, what they make. But they have such an incredible following, these Fords. That, I think, is almost it walking around here. I mean, if we go over there, there's these wonderful rally cars, these world rally cars. I haven't really got time to go through those, but you know you're in rally royalty when you see Grist and McRae on the window on the side of an Escort. Very special cars. They're all on the website you want to check. They're quite expensive. They're 250, 300,000 pound cars. 250 to 300,000 pound cars, those. Haven't got time to go from here. But that is the sale. That is Iconic's collector car sale coming to the NEC this weekend. Today, Thursday, is the setup day. As you can tell, it's still chaos over there. Johnny Smith is doing a video over there on the classic cars. I'm going to join him in a moment. But if you want any more details, do check out Iconic Auctioneers website. All the details are there. You obviously have to register to bid on there, or you can be here in person. If you're at NEC show and you've got a catalogue, you can come in here and see all these cars being sold. It'll also be on YouTube live on Saturday, so that's 7th and 9th of November. So this 8th is when these cars are being sold, which is a Saturday. Sunday is when the bikes are being sold, and all Johnny's classic cars, they go on the hammer on Sunday as well. Huge amount to see. Hope you enjoyed this video, looking around some of the cars here. Some great examples of proper enthusiast cars. If you did enjoy the video, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming on very soon.